Hey guys, this is just going to be I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, but making sure I cover as much as I can on how to move around a WordPress website. Very often I'm going to be asking you to, I'm going to be giving you a copy of a full WordPress website, not just a theme, that you're going to have to move onto your local machine to work on. And then what we're going to be doing is you're going to be incorporating Git and everything with it, because any updates are going to be pushed to Git instead of actually uploading the site. That's how we're going to work on a lot of our bigger projects. So I'm going to kind of just we'll work into Git before the or a little bit later, but this is just going to focus on moving the WordPress websites around. Some of them may have a database, some of them may not. Um, what Mark's working on right now does not need to have a database, and actually it needs to have a database, but it doesn't have a copy of a populated database that you have to import. But I am going to cover that as well. Okay, so first things first, here we have a Cache for Junk Cars Dallas right here. Now, I have a copy of that install right here that I'm just going to use for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and come into here, and I'll come over here. So first of all is making sure you have XAMPP set up and you know where your home directory is. I'm on a Mac, so I'm using MAMP. You guys are using XAMPP. They're similar, just one's made for PC, one's made for Mac. I'm using the Pro version, but I'm using it how the free version would be. So um, you'll have to look. I believe within MAMP there's a button, or XAMPP there's a button to push to get to your phpMyAdmin. But this is my local host. Okay. Now, how you're going to be working is each site that you bring down, you're not going to put it on this local host. You're going to put it on a subdirectory of some kind, like junk cars, okay? Something like that. And if you'll notice in this document, this is my htdocs, this is what's being shown up over here. I've already created that directory for demonstration purposes, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy all of this. This is the whole WordPress site, not the folder that's containing. I'm just going to copy this whole thing over to there. Okay, so I have it in there. The next thing, so that's the first thing, is you're going to get a zip file from me that has the whole WordPress website in it. I'll tell you if it's the whole WordPress website or if it's just a theme. And you guys should be able to recognize too if it's just a theme or if it's the whole WordPress website. Because if it's got WP admin, WP content, WP includes in it, it's obviously the full website. Because if it was just a theme, it'd be something named a theme, junk cars like this. Okay? Now, the reason why I may do this, why I want to send down a full site, is we're going to be working on a site that's already up and running, a live site, but we don't want to have the changes pushed to it until we know everything's working fine. Okay? So all the plugins that are there I'm going to grab, and I'm going to grab the database for you, and everything's going to be down. In the case of what you're working on, Mark, it's just for simplicity's sake to have these plugins already downloaded and everything ready to go. So you just have to go and activate the plugins, put in the serial number for the one premium plugin, and then in your initial install you'll have to configure the theme or configure the appearance to point to a theme so you can actually see what's going on, because it's going to want to default on a brand new install to whatever their latest is. So that's just something to consider. So that's the first thing, is getting this into a subdirectory of some kind within your system. Next thing you have to do is you're going to have to come in here and create a new database. Now, there's two different ways. There's two different possible ways that we're going to ask you to do this. First one is going to be just create a new database, and I'm going to show you what happens if we try to run the app from that database. So I'm just going to go ahead and click new. And database name, make sure you know what it is. I like to do local, if it's local underscore something. So I'm just going to do local underscore junk cars for this one. And I'm going to hit create. Okay? So now that's here. Now this database has nothing in it. And for what you're doing, Mark, this is all you need. Because if I go here, if I go to what I typed in here, what's going to happen is it should prompt me. Oh, I need to, after I configure one thing, I'm going to come into the theme, or into the base WordPress install here. And what you're going to have to find, I'm going to come into my editor. You're going to have to find the WP config file. This is the primary file that points everything. So I'm going to go ahead and point this to, we're going to do local junk cars, and then it's your default username for this stuff is for local is root, and your default and whatever your password is. Localhost is this, and sometimes when you're configuring a database and it's not connecting online at the host level, they may have a specific spot you have to define for the post. Most of the time it's just localhost, but this is something to consider if you've confirmed this is the proper database typed out, you've got the proper password, and you got the proper server or the user and password from the server. Okay. Oftentimes they have configure your client or something like that. They'll have some information on what you have to put there. So just take a look at that. Sometimes also if they have an automatic WordPress site creation function, I'll create a WordPress site using that and see what this information is. If it's not working, just confirm that I've got this right. But it usually doesn't happen, but it does, so you got to keep that in the back of your mind. If you run into a problem, please let me know. I don't mind looking into it. But just to give you a heads up. So I went ahead and changed this information to wp-config. It's to point to that, to point to root, part of my proper stuff. Let's go ahead and enter here. So I hit enter, and what's going to pop up now, because nothing's been populated, there's no tables or anything in the database, is basically the install. So it's going to tell me, oh, you want to install WordPress? Great, let's do it. So I'm going to go ahead and download, and your site title is always going to be, whatever it is relevant. For this one, you have to make one, but if we're using the other one, it's going to automatically populate. Let's just do junk cars for this. And in your case, Mark, you're going to be using cache for junk cars Phoenix, for example. Okay? Username. Give yourself a username and give yourself a password here. Any site that is live on the web, I want you guys to generate a quality password. For stuff that's local here, keep it to something that you can remember. But once you put it up on the website, make sure you log into the WordPress admin, excuse me, and change your password to something like this. Copy it from here. I don't like using that. It'll muck up your LastPass, and then paste it in here, okay? Very weak, yes, I know, that's fine. Drew at Jaros Consulting. And if it's a site that we're working on locally or we're not ready to publish yet, say we're going to be uploading it to a subdomain for the client's review, we're going to make sure we uncheck this. But this is something that whenever a site goes live, we have to check because this will ruin any SEO that we're trying to do. We'll go ahead and hit install WordPress. Oh, username, there we go. Okay. Okay. Log in, and as you'll see right here, we now have a WordPress website. What you're doing, Mark, is after you do this, you're going to have to come because it's just because of this installation. I don't have the default theme in there, so you're going to notice it's like trying to find 2014. Oh, you can't find it, so you have to come over here and activate this before anything will be visible. Okay, so now here you got basically a fresh install, except for the core theme that we have in there. All right, so that's with a site that doesn't have a database. Now what I'm going to do really quickly here is I am going to make sure I have a copy of a database from somewhere. Oh, it should not matter. I'm just going to grab any database here. So that should do just fine. All right, so that's that bit. So I'm going to stay here for the moment, but I'm going to go to localhost now, and I'm going to come in here because I'm going to delete all these. Check all, drop. Okay. Yes. I just basically deleted that database. Okay. To export a database, you would just do the same thing, and then you'd hit export, and you always just want to do it as an SQL dump. Okay. Now, in here, what we're going to do is I got to click on this again because it doesn't have a table structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit import on this one. Okay. Now, what we're doing is we're pretending that I gave you a WordPress installation with a database with it. Okay. So I have to actually go in here really quickly. To here, I'm going to delete all this stuff. Trash sites. Let's go here because it's the database I'm going to use. Copy all this. Copy. Oops, let's not do that. We'll just go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a database file. Now this is the database file right here, so you can see it that I'm going to import. This is one that I grabbed from the site, from a live site. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to import, choose file from your computer, desktop, aggregate, open, okay, and then go. Because it should be pretty much defaulted to this. It's going to take just a minute to find it and then get everything imported. It's even slow on a local computer. If you're out on the, say you have to install this on a URL that's on a server, you're going to go to the cPanel and you're going to find phpMyAdmin, find the database. If you have to create a database, it's the same sort of thing. It's just a different way through the cPanel interface on a server. So you're going to go and create the database through MySQL. You're going to go into phpMyAdmin. You're going to come in here, upload it like this, okay? And then the next bit is the most important part. You're going to click on Options. No, we're going to go to Browse. I'm on the wrong tab. So Options and then Browse. What you're going to see here is there's two values here that we have to change to represent what we're actually trying to access. So I'm going to change these to this. I'm going to copy this because this is our root directory. So they want to know what the home page is. So we're going to change this to this home page. And then I have to go to the next. I'm just going to click out to make sure it's saved. And we have to go to the next page. And right here is the other one that I've got to change as well to the same thing. So this tells you what the home page is, as well as what the, what's the other one again? Let's go back. As what the site URL is being used. WordPress uses both of these to set up permalink structures as well as to identify the home page. So like in code, if you do, for example, themes, we'll go to aggregate because I'm in here, and we're going to go to, let's go to the header. Okay. Google stuff there. So you'll notice right here, PHP echo home URL. That's just echoing out the home URL. And whenever you're building a theme, you always want to build it with dynamic URLs because you don't know what the final host is going to be. So say we want to go to the About Us page. I put that there, but this will just grab whatever that home URL is and point it there. Okay? So that's the reason why those two spots have to be populated. So I'm going to go ahead and save that because nothing needs to be changed. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, I changed both of those. We're going to go ahead and reload this now. And that was doing that to me before too. It's redirecting somehow. But what would happen is I think it was something that I did. Oh, you know I didn't do? Oh, I did do that. Is this rejection to there? Bottom line, guys, this has been happening to me. It's an issue with my system. But what this should do is it should take you to junk cars. Junk cars. What it would have? Well, I'm pretty sure this will work just fine for you. What you're going to get is you're going to get a completely different site there. Okay. And it's going to have the database populated and everything. I think it might be this database that I have locally or something that's causing this. So, anyways, those are the two ways to move around the sites. Now, the exact reverse would happen, if you're on the server. In Treehouse, what was I going to do with this? Oh, I was going to show you guys this plugin that we use when we're building a big site. Okay, so there's two ways that we get, when we're building a big site like this, there's two ways that we get the information up to the actual servers. The smaller project's not as important. I'll let you know what we have to do, and there's a plugin that we still have to purchase, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But it's a really cool plugin called WP Migrate DB Pro, and there's an add-on file for it too that allows us to migrate media files. In the settings, our tools, there's Migrate Database Pro. Now you can see I'm currently on a local install of this website, okay? And so I'm in here, I'm updating page content, I'm changing page content, I'm adding stuff, I'm modifying the theme in the back end, okay? Well, this only handles the database and files you've added to here. But I can go ahead, it'll connect to the remote server. I choose, you have to manually choose because otherwise it just grabs it with the prefix WP. But it'll automatically upload everything as well as change any link that I put within a page. In the past, what we've had to do is you've had to use something called find and replace, where we'd install that plugin and we'd search a string for what the local URL was. So we'd search for this string and replace it with what it's on. So in this case it would be we'd replace it with .org. Okay. So this does it all for us, which is fantastic. We're not using this right now because a lot of the times all I want you guys work, if I give you a database in this, is to work on a theme, because it's probably from an existing site. I'm going to be doing most of the brand new site creation right now, except for I know you're working on something, Arthur. I'm gonna, I'll be reviewing this stuff. You're gonna be providing me the whole WordPress website that you create, as well as the database for me to look at, and then I'll make sure it gets up. So you guys don't have to worry about it. I'm just showing you how cool this tool is. The next thing is that we're gonna be using a service called Deploy.io. Now, what's great about this is as I mentioned in a previous video too, we use Bitbucket for all of our Git repos, which I mentioned to you guys to please go ahead and get a copy of those. Get a free account in here so I can share stuff with you. Use your email address, because when I create a repo like this on a big site, you're not actually going to be uploading anything. What's going to happen is that you're going to be committing your changes, what changes that you made, and then you're going to be pushing them to this repo. When you push them to this repo, it will automatically be uploaded to the website for you via FTP. Now, the reason why we want this is then we have a snapshot of a backup here. Also, it may not automatically be uploaded, and it may have to be reviewed by me before it gets uploaded, but you don't have to go spend the time of making changes, as well as it makes sure we don't break a live site. Okay, because some of our clients are very big clients. We don't want to break their site. It would cause us major problems. So that's something that you'll be getting at some point. Again, it's not referenced, but the importance of being able to do this online, or work with this stuff on a local environment and know how it all gets moved around is important. Not everything has to be worked on a local environment. With what you're doing, Mark, again, you're just uploading that full WordPress website, modifying the WP config to match up with the database that you created for each of these sites. I'm going to go ahead and go to this one. So, the database, for example, here, I did this install. It's got the password and username that we created, and it's pointed to the appropriate database. You don't need a user per each of these on these sites. It's just the one. And just got to change this. So over here, I think I've already uploaded all that for you. Yup, config. What we do is we change the same thing. So we're going to grab all this this information. Everything here, I just probably do it like this. Whoops. And I'll save this so it'll be in there. Paste it, and then we change this to Dallas. Now it's going to be pointed to that brand new WordPress interface. So if you were to technically go to Cash4Junkcars-Dallas right now, which I encourage you to do, you're going to get that WordPress setup screen that I showed you at the beginning. Okay, Mark? So hopefully that sheds some light on it. The final thing is I want you guys to go ahead and try doing it first. If you run into problems, there is local WordPress development, which I believe I did put in your coursework. to look at. Okay, it's a treehouse thing. It shouldn't take you very long. Right here, it's not a very long thing, but it kind of walks you through the basics if you don't have the server installed right, or you're not sure where the htdocs file is, etc. They cover both Mac and PC. So again, this is important that you guys understand this. So please take a look and really become masters at this, because it will help you long term as well as for some of this stuff. So hopefully that should clear up what your question, Mark. And then also with you, Arthur, that with the Cache Lake thing that I sent you, project that I sent you, if you had done it, I wasn't able to use anything that you did there, which is fine. I took care of it. I wasn't expecting it necessarily, but if you would have done it this way, you shouldn't have run into as many problems. So there it is. Guys, please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.